All right, good morning, everybody. We're going to do a review today of proportions, okay? Uh, Most of us did okay on the test. Uh, Not as good as I thought we could do, so we're just going to have another little assignment here, okay? So we're going to go over these, a couple examples, okay? And then I'll have a Google assignment for you to do on Google Classroom, okay? Now, it says use the images below to predict how many pairs of goggles and how many life jackets the surf shop should order. All right. So example 1, it's talking about the ratio. All right. Life jackets to goggles. All right. So we got to count the life jackets. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. So life jackets is first. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. All right. And we can write it a couple different ways. All right. 8 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Now, these are two even numbers. I can simplify this ratio, okay? So anytime we can simplify it, then we need to try to simplify, okay? And I know I made notes of that in some of your all's tests, okay? So you can go back and, especially on the study guides too. You can go back, I've added notes to some of your all's, okay? So if these are both even, we know that at least 2 will go into both of these, okay? So we can simplify this. And just divide each one by 2. So 8 divided by 2 gives you 4. And 6 divided by 2 gives you 3. So the ratio of life jackets to goggles is 4 to 3. Alright? So there's 4 to 3. 4 to 3. Or 4 to 3. Okay, now on the calculator, you just put 4 over 3. It's going to look like this. Okay, but I know that's 4 over 3. We should know that. Okay, now, when we're using proportions, all right, you can go back and look at the other part of this packet. All right, this is actually the very last few sheets of that packet that I gave out the week we were still here. Okay, so if 39 pairs of goggles are ordered, how many life jackets should be ordered? All right. Well, we know, and we're going to start with this one, okay, because this is how many we got right now. We're going to set that proportion up like a fraction. All right, so we're going to use this. Okay. Use that one. Okay. All right. We're going to set it equal to, now we're talking about pairs of goggles, right? Well, where are my pair of goggles? Right here on the bottom. So that's where my pair of goggles, 39, not 36. Sorry. I was going to make it 36. Okay. So 39. Okay. And we can use whatever variable we want to. We're talking about life jackets. So we can use a J for jackets. Okay. Now remember, when you're, and some of you all did this on your test and I didn't mention it, but I'll mention it now. Our variables need to be lowercase. Okay. Because there's some circumstances later on you'll see, maybe not in 7th grade, maybe not in 8th, but later on that sometimes that capital letters stand for something else, okay? So make sure that your variables are lowercase, all right? So now all we do is we cross multiply, okay? So I have 6J, all right? Because you can't combine those, you can just multiply them. You got to leave them there, all right? And right off the top of my head, see. Should be 312. Okay. All right. Now, once we get here, we're going to do a one-step equation, and we want to solve for this J. We want to know what J is because we want to know how many life jackets there are. All right. So if we multiply, we have to do the opposite operation, which is division. Okay. Now, when we divide 6 by 6, we just get 1. So that basically leaves us, or that does leave us with J. All right. And then 312 divided by 6 should give us 52. Okay. So when we get in our assignment, all right, you're going to have 2 of these finished for you. All right. 52 life jackets. Okay, so that's how you should answer the first couple ones. Right here. Okay. Now, make note, this says goggles to total. It's talking about the total number of life jackets and goggles. Okay. Excuse me. Not just to the total number of goggles. Okay. All right. So when you're answering these in your assignment today, I'm not going to make you write any sentences today, okay? So you can write it any 3 of these ways, okay? Do your work on a separate sheet of paper, okay? So you can see the steps that you're doing, okay? When you answer, just put the number and what we're talking about, and we're talking about life jackets in this one, okay? So over here on number 4. All right, if 30 sets of goggles are ordered, how many total items should the surf shop order? So you would just say blank total items, all right, whatever that number would be. All right, and you use proportions to do that. All right. Let's go on to the next page. And we're just answering these questions, okay? We're not worried about filling in the blank or anything right now. All right, so here's another example. What is the rate of the moped? Well, when we're talking about the rate, we're talking about 2 different quantities, okay? 2 different units of measure. And what is this? Miles per hour. All right, so his rate is what? 30 miles per hour. So per hour or in 1 hour. All right, that's the rate. How many miles or how many hours will it take the moped to travel 217.5 miles? Now, we need to set this up as a proportion, okay, because it's telling us that. It's telling us this. All right. So, this is 30 miles per hour. So, we know how we should write this. 30 over 1 because miles per hour. All right. We're going to set that equal to, well, where's my miles? On the top. So, that's where my miles need to go, and my hours are on the bottom, okay? So I'm gonna put an H down there to represent hours, okay? So again, we cross multiply, we'll get 30H is equal to 217.5. All right. Just like we did in the other example, we want to get H by itself, so we divide 30 by each side, and that leaves us just with h. All right, so 217.5 divided by 30 should give us 7.25 hours. So 7 hours and 15 minutes basically. Okay? So that's how you use your proportions to solve. Alright? Now I want you to do the same thing for 8 and 9. And you have 10 down there at the bottom as well, okay? Alright. We're going to use proportions on all of these, okay? So make sure you go back, look at the other videos, or look at the look at your packet, the front part of your packet where you're solving proportions. Okay? So let's look at number 1. Alright? We'll do number 1 together. The scale on a map is 2 inches equals 15 miles, or 2 centimeters, sorry, equals 15 miles. Dave measures the distance to the next town at 7 centimeters. How many miles away is the next town? Okay? So, we're going to set up our proportions. Okay? Now, we're talking in terms of sorry there. Alright, so 2 centimeters is 15 miles. So 2 to 15. Alright, we're going to set it equal to, well, centimeters are on top. 7 and miles, so I'll just use m. Okay. Now, just do like we've been doing. Okay. So we have 2m is equal to, that should be 5, carry that, 105. Yep. Alright, we want to get m by itself, so we divide by 2 each side. M should equal 105 divided by 2 should be 52.5. Okay, so 52.5 miles. Now, when we put it into Google Classroom, in our answer, that's how we need to write it, 52.5 miles. Okay? So, make sure you're doing your work out here on a separate sheet of paper just so you're practicing. Okay? And then just write your answer in Google Classroom. 52.5 miles. Alright, no, I'm not going to take any points off for not being in a sentence today. Alright, so make sure you just put make sure you already got the units in there with it. Okay? Alright, so there's going to be 2 sections. This section, we'll call it section 2. Okay, and then the first 10 problems will be in another section. Alright? So you got 18 altogether, but I've already did 5 for you, so you only got 13. Okay? So, do this. I'm going to be getting in contact with people that haven't been completing assignments today, so you might be getting a call from me today, maybe you won't be. Alright? But after grading the test, I think we need just a little bit more practice on reviewing proportions, so that's why we're doing this today instead of moving on to percents. Now tomorrow, we're going to go ahead and get into percents, and we should be able to get through this unit pretty quickly. Okay, it's not as bad, so we should be able to get it in before Christmas with no problem, I believe. Okay, all right. For those of you still watching, email me adam.dunn at nicholas.kyschools.us. All right. You can put this number in the subject and just send it to me. All right. This number in the subject, email me at this address. All right. If y'all need anything, just send me a comment or email me. All right. And I will see you all today on your Google Meet.